Hello. I'm waiting for Facebook to start, but we are first time live on YouTube. Yay. Okay, so I am live on Facebook and I am live on YouTube for the very first time. This is Tea Time with Lady M. I am Lady M. I am Roberta. I am our Maleficent. Whatever you would like to call me, whatever you are comfortable with. Lady M, I am, is my spiritual name. Our Maleficent is my artistic name. And Roberta is my given name. Again, all are appropriate. So give me just a second. I'm going to switch on so I can see the chats because I'm not seeing chats. So I'm new to YouTube, so I'm getting used to it. And for some reason, the live video didn't start on my Facebook like it said it did. Okay, so I am live on both. I am, again, Lady M. I am Lady M, and I am live on YouTube and Facebook. So if you got the double dose of that, I am sorry about that. Give me just a second so I can hop on and view the comments from a different angle. So I will be looking to my side for this. I make some weird faces. Okay, so I am live on down. And I am going to apologize. I do have puppies in the background. So if you do hear them or you hear me yell at them, I can't help it, but they're my puppies and they're playing. So I'd rather them play tug of war than be fighting. So they may sound aggressive, but they're not. Come on. Oh, come on. Live does not want to enlarge. There we go. Get it together, woman. I know, Maureen. I know. It's a struggle today. Big things are happening. I'm excited. A little nervous with the YouTube live, so it's just a lot coming together at once. But big things. I'm excited. We're going to, as always, we're going to start off our morning with our morning grounding routine. Ladies, please keep it down. We're going to start off with our grounding, and I'm going to do the same thing as last week because I didn't feel that it was right. So I went back and I did a little bit more research on the actual grounding method of 5-4. I think I did 5-4-3. But it's actually 5-4-3-2-1. You're incorporating all of your senses into ladies, come on. I get it. One likes to be vocal. So it's incorporating all the senses, and we only did 3 last week. Again, it didn't feel right. So we're going to redo it this week, and we'll have 7 days to start new. And then next week we'll do a different meditation routine. So the first thing is, and you can change these up. They don't have to be in the same order. This is what I found to be the most common. So 5 things you see. I see 2 puppies. So that's 2 things. I see my grandfather's shadow box. I see diamond art painting, and I see my paintings behind me. That's 5 things. 4 things that you can hear. My dog is currently drinking water. She just ran across the living room. Tippy toes. I hear my dehydrator. That's 3. And I hear my furnace running. So that's 4 things. So 3 things that I can touch. I can touch my pen, I can touch my mouse, and I can touch today's Oracle deck. 2 things that I can smell. I haven't stirred it yet because I want you to see the magic that happens with this tea. And yes, it is. The bottom is honey, and then the top part is water, and then it turns purple. So, and it smells so heavenly. So I smell my tea, and then I smell the sourdough yeast that I am. They are quite comical. Yeah, one that likes to throw temper tantrums all day and yeah, can't control her. So that is and then one thing that you can taste. So I'm going to finish stirring this real quick. I do like honey in my tea, but this is a purple bluish tea. And that's why I use this cup. And I taste my tea, which leads us into, and I am not sponsored by this company in any way. I just really like their tea. So if you have tea companies that you would like me to try, let me know and I'll give them a try. But I like Lake Missoula Tea Company. This is the Rift Valley Current. And what is in it is the Kenyan purple tea, the hibiscus, butterfly pea flower, black currant, lemon myrtle, elderflower, black tea, and peppercorn. This is a caffeinated tea, so it is delightful. It is very a flowery tea. It's exactly what it is. So your pea flower is what's turning it blue. The same thing with your Kenyan purple tea. It's that's what's giving it that bluish purple texture or color. So again, this is Tea Time with Lady M. I am Lady M. And you can call me Lady M, Roberta, or Maleficent. All are appropriate. I respond to all. Today's topic, which I'm actually surprised nobody picked up on this week, is projecting onto others. I tried to keep all of the topics in line with each other. So, you may thinking, well, Roberta, how does manifesting fall in line with projecting emotions? Well, it does a lot. It also falls in line with the shadow work that you do. And when I said, is this a you problem or is this a me problem? When you come to differentiate the two. So with that, projecting our emotions, it is nothing new. It has been studied for actually quite some time. The first to discover it was by, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation. I'm sorry, Freud. I always, why? Something always tongue ties me. Okay, anyway, so first they reported on a projection in 1895 about a patient, and it was done through a letter. The next one was done by psychologists Carl Jung and Marie Louise von Franz, argued that projection is also used to protect against the fear of the unknown, which it absolutely is. So neither scientists were wrong. They were all correct in their theories in some way. Y'all, I have somebody throwing a temper tantrum and I cannot make this up. And I wish I could take my laptop off, but that just means uprooting and then having to resettle down. Will you get off the couch like that, you weirdo? Animals. I love them. I love them. But anyways, so neither were wrong in their studies and it's just gone from there. It's not a heavily talked about subject, just like in the terms of shadow work, because we may or may not realize that we're doing it in those times. Some people do realize, and we will absolutely get to that. So what is projecting our emotions? Projecting our emotions is the process of displacing feelings that we don't like, something that we tend to push away and onto a different person or an animal or an object. Off the top of my head, I don't have any examples, but I will later in the video. It is attributing one's unacceptable urges to another. So put it this way, the best way to think of it is if you're in a situation and everything is going great and all of a sudden a topic comes up that makes either yourself uncomfortable or somebody else uncomfortable. So who's lashing out in the response? Is it yourself or is it the other individual? So when it becomes, we're going to say yourself as me, you're going to look at it in the aspect of, how do you look at it? When you're lashing out, when somebody's lashing out, are you lashing out? Okay, so is this a trigger response to something you're hearing? Okay, am I lashing out to this response? Am I shutting down and projecting it onto others to make myself feel good because it's not a subject I want to talk about? Or is somebody doing the same thing to you? It can go vice versa. Now, that's just one way that projecting our emotions, I need to put the pen down, projecting our emotions can affect us. And it's scary. And when you're an empath, we can have a tendency to hold on to those things. So what we have to do, even if you're not an empath, because if you're holding on to things and you're lashing out irrationally, there's a reason that you're here. You want to get help and you want to fix the problem. So what do? You start understanding those underlying triggers, those underlying emotions. And I think that sounds a little familiar from shadow work. We want to discover what those are. So we are not projecting on it. So that way, when it comes down to, are we being triggered? We can understand that this is no longer a me problem that I'm projecting. And then you can break it down and understand, okay, why is this person projecting that the way that they are? It comes from a fear. It's an emotion based. Sometimes it's generally trauma. There's many things that can attribute to it. Now, there are people who will project onto people knowingly, and those other people won't know it. And they tend to be your narcissists, your energy vampires, those people that like to drain us. And that's why we talked, grounding, protecting, and cleansing our energy, and why we want to do it. It's from those people because they are projecting on and they're latching on to those things that they know that we are capable of, but we haven't discovered ourselves, or you haven't discovered ourselves. So when we tend to project on to others, it becomes hello to everybody that is watching. I don't know who is all on and who is watching, but hello and welcome. People tend to project because they have a trait that they don't like. It could be an emotional one. It could be trauma. So there is a person, because I have been out of the works for a while, that I am a witch. And I gave people the opportunity to leave my social circle freely, because I am not going to, don't even think about it, ladies. Sirens. They both went to the window. So, they happened to post, and I'm not going to drop names because that's not who I am. And I'm not going to degrade this person or wish any ill will because that's not who I am. So what this person did is they posted a post that was incorrect. It was brought on by fear and brought on religious based, Bible based. And so I felt the need to step in and say, hey, that's not true, because you're friends with me and I am a witch, and you're saying that this is evil. Well, I don't agree with you. And I explained why. I was extremely logical. And unfortunately, this person had a wrong term. Now, not only am I a witch, I also explained that I am a spiritual person. I do not push my craft onto others. Now, if they want to have a conversation with me, then that is perfectly fine. but I don't push my witchcraft. Yeah, I will say I'm a witch. I will do that. But because that's who I am. I'm not going to hide who I am. And I want to give people the fair opportunity to know who I am before they judge a book by its cover. And this person did. And at first I was a little upset and I was like, no, honestly, because I was like, I responded to their post and I was like, hey, if this gets me unfriended, it gets me unfriended. And it did. It got me unfriended. I said what I had to say, brought the truths. And then this person felt the need that they had to, then after they unfriended me, reach out and message me. And I only know why, because that little, if you have your settings up set to a certain way where it says block user or delete because it goes to your spam folder. Well, this is what happened. So I read it. And again, it just was like, I've done this, I've done that. It's an evil path. All they want is your soul. Well, that's not true. And that's where it comes back to grounding and protecting and cleansing yourself. If you're not doing those things, then yeah, you're going to have negative things that attach to you. But you're also, if you're doing things, you're projecting your energy. So if you're jumping into the world of witchcraft and not knowing what you're doing or what you're attracting, then yeah, you're going to attract some negative stuff and it's going to attach to you. And that's going to put a lot of fear in you. But it doesn't mean you need to project on others. And she was like, well, Jesus Christ, I'll pray for you and blah. I was like, you do realize that Jesus Christ was a man that lived on this earth 2024 years ago. Yeah, put that into perspective. And we have Roman gods and Celtic gods and Egyptian gods that are older than Jesus Christ himself. But yet you're telling me that you're afraid of witchcraft because of the magic. Well, the magic is, if you don't realize, Jesus Christ himself, he produced magic to help the people because he put himself second. He decided to help the people. And yes, he died for those sins. Whether they want to admit it into those terms, but they still worship him. And this is not a stab at religion. It's not. I do have religious trauma. But I am, what is it? Omnipotent, I'm not exactly sure of the terminology. I'm sorry. So I believe that there is all truths in some religion, but I don't believe in religion as a whole. And so I do believe that there is a creator out there, and I believe it's a creator of the universe. It's one creator, and it goes on for billions and billions of years. That's the way I see it. Hopefully I am still with everybody. Okay, I lost track. For projecting, it's why do people project? So when we project our emotions, we project our traumas, we project our fears, we project our insecurities. It's the unconscious process that protects the ego. So even though this person, I explained to them that I am spiritual, I help people who are lost in their journey and get back to healing and doing those things. But the only thing that she wanted to hear and see was witchcraft. And I did point out, hey, I brought this up and gave the opportunity a long time ago for people to leave. So it's not, it was nothing new. So it was a fear-based response. And so I had to realize that she was projecting onto me because of her own fears and her own insecurities. So it took some time to realize, and it made me realize how much projection happens on a daily basis that we may or may not be aware of. And how do we do that? We start journaling, we start taking aware, we start grounding ourselves, we start creating those daily habits so that we become more aware of ourselves. We're in the here and the now. We can, instead of preparing for disaster all the time, we're now preparing for the light that's now coming. And it's beautiful when you start getting through those deep shadows that really held on to the fears that are at the forefront of your brain, and you lash out irrationally at other people. It's sad. So like there, hatred, racism, I don't see skin color. I just see humans. And it's sad that people bring racism or sexism into it. And in certain aspects, yes, I can see where it can go both ways, but people are people and people have feelings. And that is the biggest thing, is no one can do this the wrong way, but learning yourself is the biggest key. Growing yourself that way, so when it comes again, you're not projecting onto others. You're learning that this is not a me problem. This is now a you problem, sweetheart. And sometimes you kind of just have to let it go and just do a cleanse, do a daily cleanse. They're projecting on me. Just let it roll off. Let it go. Don't let it affect your day. And that can be hard, because projecting is, if you think about it, it's a defense mechanism. It is a way for us to keep our walls up and get them going. Yeah, my live stopped on my iPad. Oh well, that's okay. So it helps you get those things going. So how can you tell if someone is projecting or if you are the person projecting? So, okay, you're getting in a heated situation, your emotions are getting high, you're starting to lash out irrationally. Okay, do yourself a favor. Take a step back from the situation and take a deep breath and level yourself. And it's okay to say, I got to step away from this for a minute and come back with a clear head. Because then you can realize, is this a me problem or is this a you problem? So what you're doing is you're going to look for, okay, do they describe the conflict in objective terms? Okay. So is it, I don't have conflicts off the top of my head. I mean, spouses fight. So, I mean, there's always that conflict. So, sometimes we do have a little tiff here and there over stupid things, so we have to step back, like, okay, am I doing this? Sometimes I get aggravated because dishes are not being done. Okay, so I need to step back and take a thing. Is this a me problem, or is this a him problem? Did I ask him to do dishes? Did I vocalize that? Okay, did they get done in a timely manner? Those are the questions that you got to ask yourself. Break it down so you can understand it. Because when you start understanding it, you start understanding the triggers, the emotions that go with that projecting, and why you're lashing out. Describe the actions that you took. So, like I said, you're breaking it down into a cycle. Ladies, go get a toy. Quit. Faces are not toy. Go get a toy. So you're describing the action. Again, you're breaking it down, creating that plan, like getting yourself into a level, clear head. So when you do approach the topic again, you can say, okay, hey, this is what I did wrong. But don't ever come and approach this subject and be like, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. Don't, because you're going to get the person to shut down. Just be like, hey, yeah, I didn't feel this way. I didn't feel great. Use I statements. Reflect back on yourself and be like, I didn't feel great when this was said to me, or when I was lashed out irrationally because of this. Find a different way to communicate, because now you're not projecting out. You're not lashing out irrationally. You are learning to control those emotions and get back on track for those. Same thing. You describe the actions that you took, but you can also describe the actions that the other person took for what they did. So again, try not to use the you statements because you don't want them to shut down. You want them to be able to reflect, and you want them to be like, oh, okay, you're right. I did do this wrong. I'm so sorry. And that's how my husband and we have learned to communicate on a whole different level because we've learned the art of communication with each other. We've learned how to open up those barriers, how to not project on one another financially. You know, we don't judge each other for financial pasts or whatever. We both have had our struggles. It's there. So now we're able to, and I used to, and not in previous relationships, financial communication non-existent. It didn't happen. I couldn't tell you what bills were together. We had separate accounts. I put myself in debt. I didn't communicate that just because I didn't have the income. And, you know, I'm sorry, but military as a very low E1 to an E3, even in E4, you're struggling with them bills, even if you're married dual military to dual military. So I struggled, and I didn't learn those things until later on in life, because it was a fear. It was more like, oh, I had the freedom to do this, so I didn't think about the repercussions for later on, which put me into predicaments where I had to work really, really, really hard just to, you know, figure myself out and pull my finances up so I could buy my house, so I could manifest moving in and living here and starting something for my family, for those things. There are different things that you are projection wise that can be put into categories. There are 3, and I'm probably going to butcher the third one because it sounds a lot like the second one, but it's spelt with an I. You can come at me. I don't care. Okay, so the first one is neurotic projection. Neurotic projection is where it's when we credit somebody. How do I say this? It's where we put somebody in a desirable position that, okay, so this is like where your stalkers kind of come in. That's where they go in because it's they think undesirable emotion with your emotions, their thoughts. Okay, maybe you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, that guy's looking at me creepy. I feel creepy. And that person's probably just staring off in space, just in their own world, like doing their own thing. But you instantly projected those thoughts. Or maybe you are stuck downtown or stuck on a bus or stuck in the airports. The airports are big ones. You begin thinking negatively and you project outwardly. So maybe there's delays in your flight and you go to the people who work the kiosks. I don't know proper terminology, so I'm sorry. I don't work for an airport. You go up and you go to the airport and you're lashing out irrationally because you have places to be, but there's a nasty snowstorm and there's no way to get planes off the ground. So you are lashing out, you are projecting out onto that person for no reason. And so now you need to step back and you need to evaluate those things. So that's a neurotic projection. That's an example of a neurotic. Okay, so complementary with an E, COMPLEMENTARY, is when we believe others hold the same beliefs that we do, which is, I'm going to use my husband and I as an example. we have a lot of the same beliefs, but we don't believe in the same thing. So we're both very spiritual people. He believes in Jesus Christ. He believes in the man. He wishes he could go and have a beer with him, or coffee or tea, whatever, his choice of beverages for the day. And I don't. I believe in different gods, and it's taken a long time for us to be able to communicate that. Okay, yes, we do both see Jesus Christ as a man who walked this earth. The way he believes in him is different than the way I believe in him, and so we finally have gotten to that understanding. So instead of lashing out irrationally and shutting down on the topic, I'm no longer projecting those emotions and feeling insecure about a topic or fearing that topic. We now can have healthy conversations, and incorporate a little bit more and more until I get to a point that I may feel uncomfortable or not. And then I'm just be like, okay, no, that's enough for now. And I'll shut it down. Now, complementary with an I, COMPLIMENTARY, projections. People use this when they assume others have similar abilities. So maybe you're talking to somebody and you're picking up on something and you're like, you're an empath, aren't you? And they're like, no, I'm not an empath. That is what this kind of complementary projection is. If I have anybody new in here, again, I can't see comments. I can't see anything that's going, oh, I got fireworks going off on YouTube. Yay. Thank you. Cool. That was pretty cool. That made my day. Thank you to whoever sent that. I don't know who sent that, but thank you. So those are the different kinds of categories that projection falls under in those areas. What happens is when we tend to project is those are the things that we've held on to, we've pushed aside, and go lay down. You're not going to go chase the kitties. Yeah, or the squirrels. Lay down. No. Bed. You're not going to. I lost all train of thoughts because of my dogs. Instead of addressing them, we misplaced those thoughts and feelings onto others. So again, we're placing them onto others. We are showing that negative energy. So it's when we show negative and we lash out with the trauma, the feelings, the emotions, sometimes we know why, sometimes we don't, sometimes we want to change. Sometimes we get stuck in those cycles because it's more comfortable being in those cycles, and why, I don't know. But fear is such a big topic. It's everywhere. It's in your shadow work. It's in manifestation. It's in protecting, grounding, cleansing. It's in projecting. It comes in all forms. So keep that in mind. That fear is in more areas than others. So when you're realizing you're projecting out, you're working on your shadow work. You're realizing a side of yourself. You're like, oh shit, I don't like this. I don't want to continue this. I'm reading my notes, making sure that I'm not skipping over anything. So if you're projecting because of trauma, let's use this one. Trauma can cause a person to separate or disassociate. So when you're getting your working into your serial killers and your serial rapists, those kinds of things, they are completely disassociating their emotions. They're generally trauma based. And if you go back and you do your history and you do your research, you're going to find that there is trauma associated in their past, and they brought it forward into their adult lives. Some of it's mom related, some of it's dad related. It's yeah, that's trauma. It's PTSD can be a nightmare. VA. I will call back. That's okay. Is this okay? So is this deflecting it back to, is this a me problem or is this a you problem? So if they're defensive, is someone angry or defensive in a way that you shared your concerns or feedback? Could be projecting the fears. So again, it's all comes back into those fears, those traumas, those things that may be triggering us to project out or be projected onto. Invalidation is a big one. And that was a big one for me for a long time. So for the longest time, especially growing up, all I wanted to do was be validated. So it sucked growing up and not getting that validation from parents, friends, siblings, whatever. I really, really struggled, and it carried into my young adulthood. And I didn't realize I didn't need validation in other people, but I needed validation in myself. And I was so in validation with myself, I projected it and it showed. And you could tell I wasn't a person that loved myself, that cared, who was growing into their capabilities and doing what they needed to do to be where they needed to be. And it can be difficult to acknowledge your emotions when you feel invalidated. So when you feel invalidated, it is a tough process, but start breaking those emotions down. Anything's tough. Start breaking it down. The more work you do, the better it will come. The easier it will come. More natural it will feel. If people are accusing you, if they're projecting out and they're accusing you, accusations, people who project accusations, they may not have clear evidence. They may not have support, or to their statements, they're like, oh, well, you're just cheating on me. Well, why do you say that? I'm not, well, you're always on your phone. Okay. No, that doesn't, you have access to my phone. So that's invalid. So give me proof. I'm not cheating on you. And no, I am not cheating. No one is cheating. It's just an example, because that is what was written down on my example. And that's what it comes down. It could be narcissists bringing you down, saying your family doesn't want you, you're not worthy, you're not, those kinds of things. Those are down putting and those are projecting. So just keep that in mind of what you're doing and who is around. Lack of responsibility. So maybe you are doing everything around the house, and they just say, okay, well, I work a 9 to 5. I bring in the dough. I don't have to do anything around the house because you're home all day. Well, no, that's not the case. Because yes, I do bring in my own form of, I get paid by the VA. That is my monthly thing. So can't say that it's because you bring home the dough. I do actually put in work. I do put in those things. And so those are things that, they project out you. Well, I do the dishes all the time and blah, 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 blah. You just don't appreciate the things I do. Okay. So when you're projecting out, you, as a person, you must stay in that calm state of mind instead of matching their rhythm. And they're lashing out and quit, lay down. You're not going outside. If they're projecting and lashing out. So be the bigger person and trying to be calmer. Easier said than done. Yes, I know. So encouraging. How can you get them to show up and start taking responsibility? Well, for your kids, like that's, for me, I am setting up chore boards. We're doing this as, a family, making sure that our boys grow up with responsibilities. So when they become young adults and adults, they're not coming to us and being like, well, I don't know how to do my laundry. Well, tough shit, kid. You're on your own. No, that's not what I want. We want to set them up for success. So when they do get girlfriends and boyfriends and friends and whatever the case, and they want people to have that over. They don't want to be embarrassed because, my mirror's a mess because I didn't, wipe it down because there's toothpaste or whatever the case. Toothpaste on mirrors happens. I don't clean my mirror daily. So I don't expect you to either. No wrong way to practice. Just remember, responding to projection. Ask those questions. Get to the heart of the issue. Again, remain calm. The calmer you are, that's going to bring their calmness down. Now, if they're going to continue to lash out irrationally, you can absolutely choose to say, until you calm down, I do not want to have this conversation, and step away. That is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So try to help them calm down to say, hey, can you take a couple deep breaths with me? Let's calm down and then let's talk about it. Because I really don't like the yelling. Oh, I got more fireworks. How cool. This is really cool. So that is one of the things that you can do. You can ask the questions, acknowledging their feelings and sharing your own. So everyone's got feelings. So if if they're telling you something and they're sharing their feelings, guess what? If I turn around and I share my feelings back with something I can relate to, then I absolutely am going to, because guess what? That is me projecting my good vibes saying, hey, I understand you. I understand what you're going through. You're not alone in this journey. So let me be there to help you. So that way you can see where you need to go on the process. Again, calmly expressing disagreement. It is okay to disagree with somebody. You do not have to be in agreements with people in the letter of it. You don't. So you can be like, the thing I like to say, I agree to disagree. Guess what? It means you have your opinion, I have mine. I still believe strongly in mine, but I'm going to have to strongly disagree with you and agree with mine. But it's no hard feelings. I don't want no hard feelings. So that's what I say. I agree to disagree. No hard feelings. Pausing your conversation so you can go and reflect. Those are things that are going to help you. You can stop projecting on other people by being open to feedback. And if someone tells you, hey, I don't like the way that you did this, or this happened, or this was said to me, or even if they do come at you with a you statement, try to use your third eye and open up your pineal gland and open up your perspective and say, and think of it as they're not trying to tell you and be deflective. They may be trying to tell you in a way that doesn't hurt your feelings, but still comes across hurtful, because sometimes the truth hurts and we have to get it out. We have to get it off of our chest, because if somebody is saying these things, that means that there is truth behind it, and it might be time to look deeper and see why they are saying it. So try to be open to the feedback and respond instead of reacting. If you're like me, I read microaggressions, I read body language more than just what you're saying. And I don't even have to look at you to feel those things. And so understand who you're talking to. They're not there to fight you. They're not there to break you down. They're there to help you. And that's what we can do to stop projecting on others, stop projecting ourselves. So if you're breaking down, go through the steps, break it down. It's not hard. If you have to write it down because it's a triggering moment, do it. It will help, I promise, because those triggers become easier when you start realizing what they are. Be direct and honest. Don't beat around the bush. If you feel a certain way, then say it. You feel it for a reason. So you have to get it off your chest, because if you beat around the bush, guess what? You're going to repeat them cycles until you don't beat around the bush and you say what you have to say. But at that point, it could be completely bottled up. And now we're lashing out irrationally with anger and fear and whatever else because we didn't handle the situation. We decided to keep it bottled in and project out. You can also seek support. Go to a therapist. You can go to a friend. Find a sounding board that will absolutely help you and keep you going during your time. Sometimes it's the best thing that we could ever do is having a sounding board. I will tell you that 100%. My hubby is one of them. My sister is another one. And they don't even know half of the stuff that I have gone through to get to where I am today. But I still have used them as sounding boards because I've opened myself to them, because I trust them in my inner circle. So that way I can get the healing. Because sometimes when we're doing it alone, we have that one way perspective and be like, okay, I got to keep on trudging. Let's go. No, sometimes there are different perspectives that we are not seeing. So having that sounding board will bring in that different perspective to help you when you're projecting out or when others are projecting onto you. How can you handle that? You can do some soul searching. Ask someone who understands. Again, a sounding board. It doesn't need to be somebody who's in their journey. It could be somebody who's just starting. Find that person. I am always, if you need a sounding board and you need somebody to come and vent to, I'm not going to lie, I come with the gift of grace and grit. So sometimes it may be brutal information, but I'm going to try to give the grace before I give the grit if you're coming to me for help, because I believe in people. And if I believe in people, I want you to believe in yourself, because that's the most important thing. I believe in myself and I fought a long, hard ways, but I want people to start waking up and start believing in themselves so that they're not projecting onto others. They're not being projected onto, because I'm going to tell you, when you're projected onto consistently, especially if you're an empath, it is draining, because you get those energy vampires, you get those narcissists, because what they do is they attach to your energy and they just suck you dry. And we want to be able to know that this is a me problem. We want to be able to know this is a you problem. So if this is a you problem, I can instantly go and protect my energy. I can go and cleanse. So I'm not feeling the, what is the word? The circling, I can't even think of the word, where it revolves around you continuously. The cycles, we'll just use the cycles. It's not doing the same cycle. So I'm not attaching to those energy. I'm not feeling that, because it does drain you. So keep in mind, if you are lashing out irrationally, if you are projecting out, get to the bottom of it and stay day by day. If it's an anger issue, journal it out. If it's a sadness issue, journal it out. Those are the things that are going to help you in the long run. This is Projecting Emotions, and it's Tea Time with Lady M. I would ask if there's any questions today, but unfortunately, I will have to just catch those in the rewatch and go from there. It's kind of actually nice not having the questions per se as I'm going, because then I'm not reading comments and not trying to keep up. So I may do away with that, especially on Facebook Live. So before we go, this week we are doing Beyond Lumeria Oracle cards. This is what felt needed to come out today. I have not played with this deck in a very long time, and the reason being because it's bigger than my hands. So it's a lot more of a pain to do with this. So this one did feel like it was calling today. And yeah. All right. So yes, this is what I mean. I have to put my hands like this because my hands like this really fit this away. So makes it a little bit more awkward because they're taller. So again, not all cards need to be this big. They should make them smaller. I do like the mini sized ones because, delicate hands. All right, there's one. What guidance do people need to hear this week? And I appreciate everybody. Oh, I got a comment. I see Christy. Hello. I'm not seeing comments on my end. My iPad is having troubles and shutting off. So it paused the live on there, and I didn't want to go back and redo it. So what guidance do we need to hear today? Who else? Oh, hi, Nikki. So I got a lot of people on Facebook Live and one person on YouTube. So I am excited. So thank you, everybody. Thank you if you're watching now. Thank you if you're watching later. 3 more shuffles. I am excited, and I am glad that you guys are joining me. Hopefully projection to, there's a few last shuffle. I had the same problem on my lives too. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. I had the problem last week, so I switched over, but then my iPad just kind of froze and wouldn't go in. Are you just starting the feed? I might just start the feed. Am I just starting? No, I started at 10 o'clock. This has been going for an hour, almost an hour. Okay, I may need to use the book on this one because, again, I don't use these cards. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we got communication and co-creation, which is, again, it comes down to communicating with each other, finding your people, and being able to open up and find those sounding boards so that you can start going out. It's finding that soul tribe, because believe it or not, we all have we have met in this life, not physically, but we've met, but plan on meeting, but you've been around for generations. So it's about co-communication, co-creations, finding those voices and starting to share the gift, which leads us to the sound of the universe, tuning in to different, with these cards today. The sound of the universe, it's attuning into everything that's around you, and realizing the power that's being woken up inside you. It's things are changing, things are coming in at higher frequencies, and they're beautiful, which ties us into unique gifts. Your gifts are opening. We've been talking about them. Your gifts are opening. They are unique, in everybody's gifts in their own way is unique. So for me, I am a shadow worker. I work people's shadows. I work people to get them into the light. I also have other gifts coming, and I have other gifts. We can have more than one gift. Your gifts are there. Use them, accept them, love them, because they're not going anywhere, because it's part of your heart. It's part of your third eye, which brings us to our third eye chakra. You're going to get that information. You're going to download that information. So if you're doing that work, you're putting in that communication, you are getting the work that you need to do. You're opening that third eye. Those gifts are coming in, and they're coming in hot, which means that your communication, your co-creation means spirit guides, your soul family. You're finding those people. So they are coming in, and they're coming in hot. Tap into those gifts, because the sound of the universe is beautiful, and it's waiting for it to be heard. And everybody has a different sound. So when you open it and you attune to that sound of the universe, anything can happen. Anything is possible. Today was a beautiful week. This was Tea Time with Lady M. I am Lady M. I hope you have a beautiful week. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me, or just post onto the questions onto the lives. So enjoy. Thank you.